All right, Armando with Security Owners Group. So this is going to be the last of the COVID series. So you can tell I feel a heck of a lot better. I'm wearing a company shirt. So I actually went to work today, had a negative this morning. And I actually had a few direct messages and text messages where people were wondering if I was okay because I missed a few days of making videos, and that's because I lost my voice. There was no point in making a video, right? So I did, however, have a negative test this morning, went into work, got some stuff done. Still have some pretty serious COVID brain going on, so I kind of forget what's going on. But you can see I'm back in the basement. I'm back at my man cave in the bar, and this was, of all the videos that I made while I had COVID, this one got by far the strongest response. So I figured this would be a great setting to do the final one, right? Especially since I never lost my sense of taste or smell. So I'm gonna go ahead and get myself a pour. I think I'm gonna go with the whiskey that we had made, the Old Hamer. That we had made and gave out to vendors and clients and all kinds of people. So got myself a small pour of my own whiskey, and join me if you like. So here's the thing. I had several people write and call me, text me, and ask about, how is the company doing while I'm gone? How is all that stuff, right? Did I shut off my email? Jay had asked that, and and I realized that I literally did not prep anybody for this past week because I had no way to know that I was going to be out, right? So the business did fine, right? Things went well, but I did go in on Saturday towards the end of the day. I got online. I started looking at what the metrics were and how things were going, and realized there were some things that weren't going the way that I thought they should, which it's not to say they would have gone any different had I been there. But for example, invoicing, we were down significantly for the week on what we had been invoicing for the past 12 weeks in a row. So I went in, I did find, I probably increased our invoices for the week by about 50% because there were some things that had just been missed that we're going to get done the next week, but still. So I figured it would be a good idea to take this time to have a conversation and talk about the perception, right? So the perception when you look at me and my business is that I've got everything together and everything runs smoothly without me all the time, 100%, and everything's wonderful. And it's not. It's not for anybody. Not even the people who've been doing it 30, 40, 50 years and retired and it looks like the business runs itself. No, they still have fires, they still have issues, they still have things that they've got to do. But that perception is there because things are under control. So that doesn't mean things are going to be perfect. It doesn't mean that everything's going to run right when you're not there. And there is absolutely a difference in the way the business runs when I'm there versus when I'm not there. And it's the difference between kind of the baseline performance, and then when I am there, it starts rising, it starts going up. It's being driven, it's being pushed more so than it is when I'm not there. So that is a very different challenge than getting a business to the point where it can operate as its own living, breathing creature, right? So most living, breathing creatures don't operate at peak performance. Most of us, I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm overweight, and I'm not operating physically at peak performance, and I'm with me all the time. How can I possibly expect the business to operate at peak performance, right? So it's just impossible. It doesn't happen. So remember that as you look at all these other companies that people talking about the deals that they've won, or the person that they hired and how things seem to be going so smoothly, remember that it takes years to get there, number one, and those struggles, those challenges are not outwardly visible. So for me, for example, there was a point in time where I sold off my truck, which I recently bought back. I sold off another car. I almost lost my house. The business was hurting, and that part was not visible to the outside world. All they saw was a nice shiny office, and that our marketing continued to go forward, and that when they called, somebody always answered the phone, right? So now, fast forward, things have been corrected. There's accountability. Things are able to operate without me, and it looks like it has always been that way. It's not. And even the companies who are the standard bearers for our industry, they still screw up. That's why it's so easy as an independent to criticize the big guns, the big companies, right? The international and the national, because their failures are obvious and evident. So where does that take me? That takes me to what it takes to run a business. Okay, what it takes to be an entrepreneur and not just a business owner, right? You have to have a very particular skill. And that skill, when combined with tenacity, is what allows you to make it through all of the hell that it takes to build a business and continue to see it through long enough that it's going to succeed. All right, that particular skill, and I'm not entirely sure how to put this, but it's the ability to be standing inside a dumpster that is on fire, okay, and look around and say, no, this isn't fine, but I know exactly how to fix this, and have a confidence have the confidence to do it and pull it off, okay? And I don't know how to put that into a single word. I don't know how to put that into a trait, but it's something that I have seen in myself, and I've seen in countless other entrepreneurs and business owners, which those are two very different things, okay? Just because you own stock doesn't mean you're an entrepreneur. And it's that ability to walk into a situation, the world is on fire, things are falling apart, and be able to take a deep breath and look around objectively as if it is not affecting you in the slightest. Knowing full well that it is, right? Many years ago, or several years ago, I was terrified of losing absolutely everything. But I was still able to walk into my office and look at things objectively and say, okay, here's where I failed. Here's where this person failed. Here's where the system failed, more importantly, right? And how do I fix it? Okay, we are spending too much. What needs to be adjusted? How do we fix that? What is the one line item that needs to be slashed? What is the one line item that needs to be reduced, right? And what are the after effects of that? The ability to look at that and look at the business and look at a problem in general from that 10,000 foot view, and see all of the things that work together to lead to either failure or success, and being able to anticipate what change you can make that will correct that path. Okay, so it's very different. I'm a musician. It's very different from being a musician in the orchestra and the composer or the conductor. Okay, the conductor can correct things in real time while they're standing there. They can look at a musician. They can hold the baton. They can correct something that is happening or something they sense or see is about to happen. Right. The composer can write it and tell you his interpretation of what he thinks is gonna happen. That's the visionary. That's the person who creates the vision for the business. But the conductor is the COO, or the person who is operating the business. Okay, as the owner, you often wear most of those hats at the same time, and sometimes you're playing multiple instruments too, right? So you've got to be able to switch between those hats. The point here is that even when the outward appearance is that things are perfect, right? They're not. Okay. For me, after this week, I felt pretty good about the business. I still felt compelled to get in there on Saturday while I still did not feel well. And I spent 3 hours looking over books and getting refamiliarized with what had happened over the week, looking at service tickets, looking at project tickets, looking at what had been invoiced, what hadn't, what the status of all these different projects were. Okay. Because there is a certain neurosis involved in being the business owner, right? Not because I didn't trust any of my people, not because I thought they were screwing up, but because I know that my presence has an effect. And until I can get the business to the point where my presence is a non-factor, which is much different, okay, much different than getting a business to quote unquote be clockworked, okay, to where it operates without you and you can leave for a month or 6 weeks or 8 weeks and the business continues to run. It's very different to get the business to the point where your presence makes no difference, okay? So just keep that in mind when you look at other people in the group, when you look at other people in our industry, when you look at businesses that are being acquired for, you know, quadrillions of dollars, right? And know that all of those companies went through growing pains. All of those companies went through the same things that we all go through, right? And being at the top, especially if you don't have partners, is a very lonely place, okay? So that tenacity, that ability to stand in the dumpster that's on fire and look around and say, oh, everything's fine, I can fix this, that is a critical factor to your success, okay? That deep-rooted belief in yourself that you can do this, that deep-rooted confidence in your ability to do what you do better than anybody else, okay? That is the key factor in success and in building a business. So when you start to get down about, you know, hiring is difficult, or projects that go sideways, or parts that are broken, or employees that quit, or not being able to find the right people, or whatever it is, or your own interpretation of the progress you've made in X number of years. Remember that that is your interpretation. It's not the end of the world. Everybody else goes through that. And the one key factor is your ability to believe in yourself and have tenacity and never, ever give up, okay? So this being the last of the COVID series videos, I am not going to be doing these every day anymore because I have to get back to the office and get some stuff, you know, moving forward again. However, because of the popularity of this particular thing right here, doing this, I am going to try to do a weekly video series where I just talk about business in general. Maybe we can share a drink. We might do some live sessions. We'll see how that goes, okay? So as always, if you enjoy the content, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Join us on securityownersgroup.com or on Facebook / Security Owners Group. If you own a security company, go ahead and join that free group. We will vet you and make sure you are an owner. And you can join us there where we can all, you know, figure out how to make our companies better, okay? As always, appreciate you guys. COVID's over for me.